everybody and welcome to this Feeling Crafty video. I'm Becca and today I'm going to show you how to make this adorable little treat basket. It'll be absolutely ideal to put a few Easter eggs in, maybe a couple of Cadbury cream eggs, maybe whatever your favourite brand is, or even just some other little treats for somebody at Easter. It would also be great for little food treats at any time of year, because I think it looks a bit like a picnic hamper, or even maybe one of those old-fashioned sewing baskets if you have somebody you'd like to give some sewing gifts to. So let's get started. All you're going to need for this project is one A4 sheet of card. I've cut mine, as you can see, but this is how it all went together. First of all, you're going to cut 18 centimetres by 18 centimetres, and then you need two 18 by 1.5 centimetre strips. So this is going to be our main basket, those are going to be our handles. We're going to hang on to this piece because we're going to need it for punching some shapes in a little bit. So let's put the handles to one side where I won't lose them. Watch me lose them anyway. And the first thing we're going to do is start with our scoreboard. So we're going to put our card right up to the edges. I'm using the metric plate on the Stampin' Up scoreboard, and we're going to score it at 6 centimetres and 12 centimetres. So as you see, nice easy scoring in both directions. So turn the card through 90 degrees and do exactly the same. 6 centimetres and 12 centimetres. Now, before I move the card this time, I just want to make some marks that are going to help me in a little bit. And the first one I want to make is at 9 centimetres, but I also want one at 2, at 4, at 14 and at 16. Okay, so I've marked at 2, 4, 9, 14 and 16, and please don't worry if you're not catching these measurements as we go. I will put them underneath the video for you so you can look at them without having to replay the video every time. And I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. So 2, 4, 9, 14 and 16. And those little marks are to help us in the next stage. So let me just pop the scoreboard out of our way. Okay, so what we're going to do next is some cutting. Now, sleeves up, ready for this. The first thing we're going to do is cut down on the side where I've got my marks. We're going to cut down the score lines until we reach the crossways score line. So you can tell when I concentrate, I cut in. I'm not so good at talking, so just bear with me a second. I'd rather not take my fingers off because these lovely snips are very sharp. So as you can see, now we have panels like that. Now on the middle panel, we've got a mark here at 9 centimetres from the edge, which is halfway. You want to cut from that mark to the corner where you've just cut, and then we're going to remove that piece of card. And we do the same the other side. Now I find it easier to cut it like this, but you can cut both the triangles on one side first if you like. And then I find it easier to turn it over. I don't know if it's because I'm right-handed, but what we're cutting here is a triangle. So your centre panels will end up with triangles in them like this. Now I haven't worried too much about exactly how precise my cutting is because I want my basket to look a little bit rustic later. If you're worried about getting your lines right, then what you could do is draw a pencil line and follow the pencil line, because you're going from the middle to this point here, from the middle to this point here on both sides. A little bit more cutting to do. What we then want to do is cut down where we've got our other two marks. Again, I haven't worried too much about keeping them 100% straight because I want my basket to have a slightly rustic feel. I'm going to do this on all four corners, and again, because I find it easiest to hold the card that way, what I found was doing the two outside squares first was easier because I had more to hold, and then flipping it over and doing the same. I'm nearly there with the cutting. Just got one more square to do. So we're going to cut down here and then down here. Okay, so what you should have now is 3 flaps on either side of a triangle on 2 of your sides. Now, one more thing we need to do is cut down approximately, as you can see, this is about how approximate I was being, 1 centimetre from the 2 middle ones on each side, so the inside one and the next one. And again, I found it easiest to be able to cut away from that bit of the triangle. So, oops, don't want to cut that third one, so let's just move him out of the way. There we go. And then flipped it over just to make it easier for myself. There we go. And 2 more cuts. As you can see, I'm not terribly worried about it being 100% precise. Then you want to just throw all those in the bin. Now, my bin would mean me putting my arm straight under the camera, so I won't do that for you. Okay, our basket is almost ready to go. Now, what I've done on this one here, just to give it a little bit more definition, is I've just inked the edges. And to do that, I've used one of the little daubers. These sit neatly on your finger, so they're lovely and easy to manage. And some coordinating crumb cake ink. So let's just open the ink, pop that down. Okay. And then I've literally just tickled all the sides. Oops, that one I haven't cut quite far enough, so let's just take that whole way down to the line, there we go, of each of the edges. That little ting you heard there was me knocking the tripod, so I hope I didn't move the camera too much, otherwise you won't be seeing any of this. And I just did that for all the edges. Now, I'm not going to do it for all the edges now, because you've kind of seen how that works. But we'll just do one side, so we'll make one side up. And the triangle. You're getting the hang of this, aren't you? You don't need to show me how to do this. I need to show you how to do this. There we go, so we've got inking on all the edges, pretend. The next thing we're going to do is get our glue dots, and we're going to start putting this box together. So what we need to do is fold all our folds. Let's make sure they're ready to go. And fold all of those over. This one over, those. And then these 2 sideways ones. And the first thing we're going to do is join our top panels. Now, I found an overlap of about a centimetre and a half was about right. So what I'm going to do is use glue dots, because that's lovely and quick. So what I do is take the roll to the project, put 1, and I think just for this bit we'll put 2, just to stop it squirming around too much. And decide where I want my overlap to be. And if I do this, it's probably easier for you to see. And just join them up so that the top is level like that. Okay, so at the moment you've got a very strange looking construction going on. What we need to do next is bring these side pieces up towards the middle. I didn't cut those very level, but never mind, we're going to hide that under the triangle later, it'll be fine. So I want a glue dot on the end of each of those. I'm just going to go ahead and put glue dots on each of the side panels, because it's just saving coming back and doing that in a moment. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is bring these 2 up so that the top hits the top there. Okay. So hopefully you can see where they've met, and then I'm going to bring the next 2 up, oops, one at a time. And you can see we're beginning to get that lovely curved shape on the edge, even though we never cut any curves, which is my kind of curves. And then we just have one more piece to bring over, which is that triangle there. So let's just pop glue dot, not quite at the very top, because you'll notice the very top goes slightly over. And there we go, we have one side done. Obviously we need to then repeat that on the other side. And when we have, I found it was easiest just to trim the tops off the triangles, like so, following the line. Because the next thing we're going to do is just cover up this bit, because it's not as pretty as it could be. So as you can see, what we've done in the finished basket is just put a circle on. And do you remember that piece of card we put to one side? That's what you're going to punch your circle from. I've used the 1-inch circle. You're going to, across the whole basket, use a total of 4. So just punch those out. And what you're going to do for this piece here is you're just going to fold one in half, and then using some liquid glue, ink the edges, then using some liquid glue, just stick it over there like that. Okay, so obviously you need to repeat that on both sides of the basket, and your basic basket will be constructed. The next thing to do is to work on the handles. Now on my sample I've rounded the edges, but I've just realised I haven't brought my corner rounder over, so on this one let's not do that. But you could just round these edges here, or you could just cut them. We could do it with the scissors, can't we? 'Cause we just then do a little, whoops, a little rounding like that. Then ink the edges so you're ready to go on those as well, because I think if you ink the edges everywhere else, having a little bit of texture on the handles is important. Now we need to make then these little flowers, and what I found was easiest with those was to take my card, then using my handheld punch, punch the little hole that the brad is going to go through ultimately in the card, like that. Oops, we need 4 of those, I'm just showing you 2. And then take my, I use this punch so much, it's the images come off there, but it's on the side that's important to see. So this is from the Itty Bitty Punch Pack, and it's the little tiny weeny scallop circle, which I think is quite pretty. What I'm going to do is, using my punch upside down, put that little hole I've punched in the middle and just punch my flower out around it. Now, I found this was much easier than trying to punch my flowers and then put a hole through them, because they're so little. So when you've done that 4 times, you again need to ink the edges. Then what we're going to do is assemble it, and I found the easiest way to do this was to punch all of the elements separately. So I measured in approximately 2 centimetres from each edge of the basket to put little holes, so like that and like that. Oops, would have been good to get them level, which obviously if you're taking your time with it you absolutely can. And then on my handles, to make sure they were level, I again put the 2 together, punched in, so I do that the way you can see it, punched my holes and was ready to go. Then all you need to do is take a little brad, and these are the mini brads from Stampin' Up. They don't have to be big, they could be big and colourful, entirely up to you. And I put my inked flower onto my brad, a little bit fiddly this, but only when people are watching. When you're doing this at home you'll find it much easier. Then lined my handle onto it, then went through the other hole, then opened up my brad on the inside. Oops. Rubbish at doing these. Now you can see why my nail varnish is all chipped. There we go. And your handle's then attached, and the handles go across side to side like that. The one finishing touch that I've put on this one before it's decorated, I don't know how easily you can see that, is, do you remember those, you've used 2 circles here and here, and there are 2 more to go. So I've cut those in half, and I've just put them over the backs of the brads, so that when you put your hand in your basket you don't catch yourself on the little bits there. I just think it makes it look a little bit neater, as well as it being a little bit safer. I haven't inked the edges of those ones because I wanted them to kind of disappear in. And there you have your finished basket, ready to decorate for whatever special occasion you would like. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got any questions or need any of the products used to make this little basket, please do get in touch. My email is becca@feeling-crafty.co.uk. I look forward to hearing from you. Happy stamping! Bye!